Hello, everyone. My name is Nikhil, and my theme is growth through dependence. Now, growth through dependence is basically talking about how Robin grew in her journey from being someone that was depending and clinging on to tangible objects, humans, and animals for both emotional and physical support. She ultimately transitions throughout the journey to someone who is more independent and doesn't need help from anyone or doesn't control situations that she can't. So I really wanted to focus on both her physical and emotional growth to truly show how her experience in her journey changed her. So the quote I used was, "One expects maps to be always, but always 100% correct. And most of the time, they are. It's those other times can set you into a real panic." The context behind this quote is basically that she's talking about her how reliable tracks and maps are in the desert that she's traveling through. She talks about how the expectations are that maps are 100% correct. Um, the language behind this quote really stood out to me because she uses certain phrases like always, but always. By using always twice, she's sort of emphasizing the fact that maps are expected to be 100% correct. And I mean, we do expect them to be correct, or else we just end up in random ditches and dead ends, and we just have to walk back. And in her case, in her journey, it's really important that the maps are accurate. But then she moves on to, and most of the time they are. By talking about most of the time, she's alluding to the few times where they aren't accurate. Now, this leads to the next sentence where it's those other times that can set you into a real panic. By only focusing on the few times and by using real as an adjective for bad, she's talking about how this would mentally impact her if she went in the wrong direction and how bad it would be. I think this relates to my theme because it shows her dependence on tangible objects. She's overly dependent on maps, tracks, and on many different things like animals, such as her dog and her camels. And this impacts her both emotionally and physically because it kind of impacts the path she's trying to take and how her journey is going. Ultimately, she starts off wanting to control everything and wanting to know how everything's going. And she's overly dependent on a lot of things around her. But as she moves throughout her journey, she kind of grows into a more stronger, independent woman who just goes with the flow and doesn't require the control she used to need.